All right. Uh-oh. Can anybody hear me? Yes. Okay, my mic is working. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the studio on this Wednesday evening where we're going to be painting some Beetles. Sudike, hello. Glad to see that you are here. Let's see. The Beetles I'm going to paint are over here. Well, I'm going to use that as just a general reference, a guide, nothing more than that. We're going to get into doing some of our own colors with that. The rest of the paints that I'm using over here are my M. Graham paints. Brushes today are going to be my King Art brushes. Still liking these. These are the 90-20 series, and the paper that I'm using is Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. A couple people coming into view right now. If you don't, or if you haven't watched this channel before, the last Wednesday of every month are a painting challenge that I set for everybody for the month, and this month it was Beetles. Let's see. Anything else I need to talk about? Liza, hello. Good to see you. So, I said that those are the guys over there that I'm painting, and I'm going to use them as a general guide. I really basically just want the outline because I'm going to be using my own color with the Supervision paints, and we've got some kind of crazy looking colors coming from those, more than just a regular paint. These are mica infused paints, and probably if I move this around, these are all of the colors there. You can see some of them really shine and fluoresce in the light. That one there, this one over here, it looks like that one up there is getting quite a bit of good light too. So we'll pick a couple of these colors out and we'll paint Beetles in these colors rather than the colors that are over there. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm going to jump into it at this point. Eliza asks, have I ever had to reshape my brushes, and if so, how have I done it? I've not. The only problem I've ever had with brushes, and I have some on my table over here, I don't see any that have had that problem, are with the synthetic brushes getting a hook, and I've used either a small knife and reshaped the edge with that, or a toenail clipper and clipped some of them off. But no, typically if I have problems with a brush, I get rid of the brush and get a new brush. So I'm sorry. I tried warm water and gum arabic. I think I used too much gum arabic. I would like to fix this brush. This is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 sable brush, and it just doesn't quite come to a fine point. It'll come to 2 or 3 fine points, and that's kind of not what I want. I never could get this one to come to 1 point at the end. Liza, if you ever figure out how to do it, let me know. I would love to know. Okay, I'm going to start by getting a couple of these colors wet. Some that I think are pretty interesting, and we'll put some of these colors. This is a nice color over here. We'll put some of these colors on a separate sheet of paper so we can kind of get a good feel of what they look like and what color we want to make our beetles, and then we'll go from there. Just adding a little water to activate these. Look at that. Oops, I'm sorry, you can't even see. This one started out gold. Here you can see that little bit is gold on the side, and I put water on it, and immediately it turned purple. That's pretty interesting. Oh, that one's turning brown. So we'll test out a couple of these colors just so we can see what they look like, and maybe we'll all decide together. I don't want to, let me do this. I don't want to drip water on my beetles. This might be a little better way to do it. Looks like we have a couple of other people coming in here. Susie Moon is here. Welcome, Susie. Always good to see you in the studio. All right, I think that gets them plenty wet. I've got a little practice sheet of paper on the side over here. And this is really what we want to see anyways, right? The beetle's just a vehicle for having fun with some of these paints. Let's see if I can get them all on the page all at once. There we go. I'm going to start with this purple gold one up here at the top. This is a very interesting color. And let's just give a little bit of a look here at what it looks like. And then this blue one next to it. Purple, very sparkly, very sparkly. I can tell my rinse water up here is going to have a layer of sediment at the bottom of it. Sediment, not sentiment. At the bottom of it. All right, this one doesn't look quite as exciting. It just seems pretty blue. This one has some potential. That's interesting. That might be an interesting bug color here. Let's see, that was this one. This one looks pretty interesting here too. Ooh, I think that's a winner of a bug color. I'm going to hold this up in just a second so we can see what we've got going on here. And then we can all decide together how we want to proceed. Whoa. I like this one. I like that one a lot. Let's see, I've got 2 more here. Uh-oh. A little blob. Very interesting. And my last one is this one right up here. Trying to get a good swab of color on all of these. Okay, cool. So now we can see what we have available to us. I'm going to raise these up. I know they're still a little bit wet. I'm going to dab off just a little bit of color so I don't get any real back runs as I'm holding this up. I think we'll still be able to see what color's what here. There we go. Cool. So I think you can see, oh, well, there's just some shine on there, but look at the granulation in the different colors in this one. Right? Got some interesting greens and some purples there. Got some interesting purple and gold in this one. Purples and blues in this one. That's pretty interesting. And the rest of them are, I can see them fluorescing. I think if I look at the monitor, it just looks a bit wet. So I'm going to set this here, and I'm going to move my colors in this palette up here. So I'm going to do it kind of like this so you can see, and I'm going to start painting the head on this one. Maybe I'll start painting the legs on several of them. How about that? What's going on here? ZC is here. Hello, hello, hello. And people are trying to fix Liza's problem with her brush. Dipping them in warm water, mild soap could help. Susie, you haven't used all of them yet. You reshaped about 8 of them, tested 2 today, and they were good to go. Oh, well, that's at least good. I hate when you get brushes. Liza, these are new brushes. I don't see. Had to wash them and wash them and wash them to get it out. I'm assuming these are new brushes that you got, or they had been stuffed in a bag or a box somewhere, and the tips got a little bit bent. Something like that. I'm looking at these now. The more these dry, they're changing as they dry. So I'm intensely curious about this. I've used these one other time, and to be honest, not new, just well loved. I get it. Totally get it. So I'm going to say some good things and some bad things about these. I hope you can see this. This one here is a light color, right? Like lighter than a cerulean, almost like a periwinkle to me. And if I go like this, you can just see, I think you can just see there's a green tint to it, right? I can look on it and see some green mica in there. You can see a green tint. And this one, as it's drying, is getting purple tint in it. I think you can see the purple. This big brown one over here has got green flecks in it. You can see them more clearly up here. The gold and purple really looks cool. This one I think looks cool. This one is like purple and pink. You can just see the tint in that, purple and pink. Susie says, do these take longer to dry? I don't know. I use an awfully big brush, and I used an awful lot of water so that I could get a large pigment load onto here. And it is still wet. That's an old painting on the back, but I can just feel it coming damp on the back side. It's a great question, Susie, but I don't know the answer to it. This one is blue with this purple. That's cool. And this one is blue with gold in it. Interesting, blue and blue with green and gold here. I guess, now that I'm doing this, I guess what I want to do is I want to start with these. So I want to decide. Which ones do I like? I like this color. Now I have to remember which one that is. I like this color here, and I like either this one or this one for a beetle. Probably this one down here. Anybody have any other opinions? I'm going to label these. I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3. Now you're not going to be able to see this. 4, 5, but I don't have a big marker. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I thought I would have 12 in here. Oh, that's interesting. Right? Everybody put into chat what you think is the best one here. Here's 1. It's a purple and gold mix. 2 is like a bluish, like a periwinkle almost, and pink mix. 3 is like, it's red with green below it. right? Number 4 here is, well, it's blue and purple again, slightly different than this one. 5 looks purple and silver. 6 is a blue-gray with purple on top. 7 is like a light blue with green flecks in it. 8 is blue with blue-green specks. 9 is brown with green. And 10 is blue with brown. Anybody have any preference on which one is which? Let's see, ZC, you love 3 and 1 and 9. 3 and 1 and 9. Interesting for Beetles. Okay. 3 and 1 and 9. I like 3 also. And 1 and 9. I think 9 could make a good Beetle. Blue is here. Hello, diluted pigment addicts. Liza likes 5 and 8. I do like 8 and 5. And while everybody's putting in what they like, who asked the question? I wonder what would happen if you mixed some together. So, Liza, I'm happy to do that. A little later on, maybe as we're waiting for these guys to dry after we put a layer of paint on them. I'm happy to come back and do a little mixing and have a little bit of fun with them. I got no problem with that if you want to see a couple of them. 3 and 8. Sudike says 3 and 8. Okay. So we got a couple of votes for 8, a couple of votes for 3. Dana's here. Dana is here. Hello, Dana. Okay, let's do that. Let's use 3. 3 and 8. I vote for a lighter color and a darker color. 3 and 8. Now, let's try 3 and 8. Let's see what happens with 3 and 8. I'll tell you what we'll do. If you look at that Beetle on the left-hand side here, it's got a different color head than the body. So we want to do a lighter color, a different color. Let's do this. I'll do 9. Oh, now I got to figure out what color is what. I'll do 9 up here on his head. Let's do that. I'll do 9 on his head and do 8 on his body. That's a blue one. Let's see. I think I had it. I think I had it this way when I started. Oh man, I didn't. I'm looking at it now, and I should have marked the one I started with. I started up here with this one. So 1, 2, 3. This is 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8. So I'm going to mark this one. This one's 9. And 3 we said, which is this one. Okay, got it. 1, 3, and 9. Dana says 1, 3, and 9. Okay, what do you 1, 3, and 9. No, 8. I'm going to try. I'll tell you what. I'm going to do 9, which I believe is this one. It's got to be this one. On his head, up here. What does it look like? It's one solid color. And then we'll play with these colors quite a bit more as we start to fill this in. Am I going to be using only these pigments? No, I'm not. I'm going to be using some of my normal paints too. And I'm going to be using the normal paints to put on some of the shading and detail work. I'm not exactly certain how that would work with these. Given that they are filled with mica, they're pretty opaque. And so I'm not exactly sure that going over them time and time again is going to reveal a wide variety of differences. But I think what I can do, this is my hope, and I was talking to my wife. Tracy Perkins is here. Hello. I was talking to my wife before I came out here, and I said, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. I didn't get an opportunity to try this over the weekend, and I probably should have, but we'll all learn together what these are like. But if I put on a thin layer, then I can do some shading around the edges of these with a solid color, you know, very light, make it mostly translucent, and then it'll just help to give a little roundness to them. There we go. There's the first one. And that looks that looks horrible. Come on, let's give him some more. Let's give him some more something going on in here. Let's really juice him up with some paint. And I hope this is going to look good. There we go. There's his head. Liza, I'm glad you like it. I'll be honest, I'm not convinced. I like the sparkliness. I will admit to that. All right, I hope you guys can see. I hope I've got everything right on here. Now I'm going to try to paint the wings back here. And I think on some of the larger legs, like the back legs on this guy, if we give a little splash of this color on those back legs as we paint them, that'll really give a little pop to this. But I'm quite honestly, I'm expecting this just to be more of a fun piece than like a technical piece or anything like that. So I actually think this is one of the cool parts of watercolors, right? When you've got some new supplies and you're not sure how they're going to work, and you just do something to have a little bit of fun with it. Susie, you think I may have to lose a little control with these paints. I'll tell you what, if we get this done and we got some time left over, right? Now, yes, we have as much time as we want, right? But if I'm not super tired out at the end of this and we're playing around with some of this color and we want to just throw some on and really lose control with things, I'll just grab another sheet of paper and we'll give it a try and we'll have some fun with it. I'll let you guys take a little bit of the driver's seat, and you can let me know what you want to see, and I'll just be your hands and we'll go from there. But I think you guys have asked about these colors before, and I know I've mentioned them, and they're kind of a fun thing, and they're not something that everybody has in their arsenal. So, you know what? Why not? Let's just have some fun with it. Experiment pieces sound fun. They are fun. There's a lot of fun to be had with stuff like this. Let's see. I'm gonna. Okay. Here's my. I would call it a contact sheet. I'm going to set it up there. I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can see this guy a little bit better. This is color number 3. Got a little hair there. Let me grab just a little bit more water. All right. You really think it's terrific. Liza, just wait. I don't know. This is one of those ones that might just turn out to be a fun night, and you know, we don't worry too much about the end result. We just have fun with the colors and see what we got going on. I think this color is a really fun color. I love the way that this is kind of granulated out on my contact sheet over there. And we'll, like I said, we'll just have some fun with this. So I have to ask, did everybody have fun on Memorial Day? I hope everybody did something fun and exciting. I'll tell you what I did, which was really kind of neat, and I'll tell you what I think is the neatest part of the whole thing. Did I grab the right color? I did. Is my family and I, the rest of my family and I, went to an old-timey tractor show. And that tractor show was in, a couple towns north of here. And they had a lot of tractors from the turn of the last century and some just before that. So a lot of big wheeled tractors, some tractors with no rubber tires on them, massive pieces of machinery, loud, noisy, smoky, nothing that would ever pass any safety regulations in today's day and age. But it was really interesting to see what the farm equipment used to look like 100, 120, 100. I don't know. Oh no. No, 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 no. Is anybody there? No, no, no. Does anybody see me? Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys still there? Oh, somebody's here. Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I don't, honestly, I looked up and everything was frozen. I don't know at what point it froze. I had no mouse. I had no keyboard. I couldn't get back into anything. I couldn't unplug my keyboard and plug it in a different way. I tried to connect Bluetooth mouse and it wouldn't connect. So I just shut it down and I hoped you guys will be here, and you are. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Okay. I don't even know what we were talking about. It pains me to know that I'm trying to do something right and forces outside of my control are taking over. All right. Deep breath. Cleansing air in. Bad air out. Okay. We're back, right? We're back. Well, you would have waited all night to check to see how the paint has dried. All right, so check this out, right? You can see in looking at these that it's pretty shiny, and if I pick up the paper and just move it a little bit, you can see there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on. Even more so than on this little page, which you can see it shimmering. But when you get into a big field, holy cow, there's a lot there, right? they look like these amazing colorful beetles that you might see wandering around somewhere. And I love this. But also, right, let's try it. Let's try this over here. Also, I'm not sure that putting on a second layer is going to add a whole lot. Okay? This is why I was a little unsure about how to do this. But I think that if and yes, I'm doing this on this practice one. If I put on a layer of, in this case, I've got a little bit of sepia and a little bit of neutral. And I do a little something like this, we can kind of get a nice graduated wash in there, and that might allow us to get some nice color on there, right? And allow for some shadow. Already this one looks kind of like it's going that way. That's what I'm hoping to do here. Okay. Whew. All right, I need to take another breath. I'm all out of shape about it. You guys are handling it better than I did. All right, I want to make a color here. I'm going to get a little bit of, I'm going to do the body of this beetle here. I'm going to get a little bit of ultramarine. I think ultramarine's going to go with this. A little bit of neutral tint and a little bit of sepia, which will hope to just bring those colors down a little bit. And whew, deep breath. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna hope against hope that this isn't gonna pull this mica off of here. I'm not sure how stable the mica in this paint is. Right? Can we do a glaze over top of it? I just don't know, but we're gonna find out together. This is gonna be an interesting experiment. Who said these are shiny? Who said that? They are exceedingly shiny. Okay, well, I got too much stuff on my page here. Let me move that a little bit. Cool. So, well, maybe it's going to work. I don't know. It looks like I picked up a little bit of that. I might have to do a little bit more than I wanted to. Wet it just a little bit more than I wanted to, but I think you see the idea I had here now, right? I put a little dark on the side here, and it makes it look like it's wrapping around a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing over here a little bit. Right? Let's do something about like this. This is either going to be really cool or really frustrating, and maybe a little of both. Maybe, just maybe a little of both. All right, cool. I can live with this. And you know what? If we need to put a little glaze back over top of some of this color, I think we can deal with that. I'm kind of good with this. Let's go over here. I'm going to get something that's going to be a little crazier. I'm going to go with alizarin crimson and neutral tint. And did you notice, did anybody notice I cleaned my palette over here? And I'm going to touch in just a bit of my Phthalo Blue. And that's going to help keep it a little bit purple-ish. Let's do this, right? Let's do a little bit on this head here too. Maybe this comes up a little bit. I don't know, something like this. This to me is the scariest part of this, is trying to work with pigments that you've never worked with before. You're not sure how they're going to react in the moment. And you're in front of a crowd of people. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? All right, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to mix up my own dark here. And you know what? I don't need to do that. We've got this whole head over here. We've got this other side we can work on. We've got a few things we can do here. Let's see. I'll use up here a little Phthalo Green, a little Phthalo Blue. Come on, Phthalo. I'm trying to look to see what colors we have here, and a little bit of this Sepia. I like the colors so far. Colors are shiny. I like shiny colors. They're fun, right? A little bit here. I'm going to pull that back a little bit on this side, I think. Trying to give a little bit of shadow over here. His head curls around that little bit. I think I got a little too much water and maybe not quite enough pigment, but we'll do it. The blue one, this one over here, it's a lovely color, isn't it? It's a lovely color. You know what I want to do? You see on that one, it's got this stripe coming right down his back. I want to give that stripe the same color as his head. All I have to do is figure out on here which color that was. I think it was this one. Let's do that. It must have been this one. When I mix it up, it looks the same. It looks the same, or roughly the same. It looks to me, as I put this on here, it looks to me like it's wet. I want to not put it on here. I don't want it to touch the sides because it looks like it's wet and it's going to all start running together. Cool, look at that. And on this side, and then we'll put a little black stripe down the middle where that kind of divides a little bit. I think that'll be cool. It'll be more in line with my reference photo over there. My reference photo over there. I always get a kick out of pointing on screen. I can't point here. I've got to look up on the screen and push it. Wait. What did I say that... CC, what did I say that's making you laugh? I don't remember. All right. Okay. So now, now, before I do much of anything else, it's got some nice, gentle shading over here. This needs to be darkened up. I was right. Too much water, not enough pigment over here. But I want to let that dry totally before I do anything else. Should I just do the legs like a general dark and then put some pops of our shiny colors in there? That's what I was planning on doing. I think I should do that. Let's make some of that. I've got a little bit of that here, right? I believe this color, this will be for the legs on this guy. So I believe this was Ultramarine, a little bit of Sepia, tone it down a little bit, and some of this neutral. That's going to give us a nice, like a blue-gray, neutral blue-gray. And I'm going to start, let's see, normally I would start here and then paint that way, and then I have to get my hand in there. So I'm going to try to outsmart myself. I'm going to start on this leg this time. I have to figure out which one it was for the green paint. All right. Fair enough. I did put a little mark there, and then the mark immediately came off, so I couldn't tell anymore which paint was which. But I tried to make it right. All right, let's get this leg on here. I'm just going to give some general color here. I'm not going to worry about any shading yet, because I want that to be nice and dark. I think that's lovely the way it is. And then I'm going to go in with some blue, which was this blue. And drop it right in there. Cool. Now I'm going to move on to my next one. Same color. I actually think this is going to turn out pretty interesting. I'm hoping that leg, all these legs. I might as well tell you what my hope is now. I'm going to tell you what it is eventually. My hope is that it's still going to retain that darkness, but some of that shininess will pop to the surface, and enough of that color that we'll know it's right from this beetle. I think that'll be an interesting way to get a pop of color into that leg. Might be more interesting, actually, if we used like a different color. All right, that might make it more interesting. I don't know. But this is the plan I have. This is the plan I'm trying to work at the moment. Let's get a little bit of that blue in there. Ooh. Can you see? There is the definite blue tint to that. That's a definitely blue tint. Okay. Mix up a little bit more of this. Blue. Sepia and neutral. And now I'm going to come up to this leg. Right, I'm going to put some color in here. Is everybody stunned by the radiance of this? These colors are, now they're not cheap, right? This box of Supervision colors, I think is going to set you back about 65, 70 bucks. Something like that. They're not cheap, but they are pretty cool. I have to admit, I was really shiny. I love the addition, even through the camera where it's a little smaller. You can see some of that blue shining through. If we get any of that shine on there, I think that's going to look really killer. All right, clean that off. Who makes Supervision? That's a great question. Let me pull out the box. Let's take a look. I don't know. I don't believe it's Core. Could be, but I don't think so. I don't know that we'll be able to read it, quite honestly, because most of it's in Japanese or Chinese. Mermaid Coast Rock Mica. I don't know. It doesn't say. It's made by Supervision. Made in China. Supervision. I don't. That's a great question. I'm not sure who makes it. Okay, so cool. We got some legs going here. They've got some cool color in them. And so I'm going to do the front legs also. I'm going to do them the same. And the hesitation is, what color do I want to put in them? I think you know, my initial thought was I'll put in the same color. We've got a little bit of blue in here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in the same color up here. Uh-oh, we're losing people. I just looked up. We're losing people. What can I do? I don't want to lose people. I want people to stay and have a good time and like watercolors. I was at 15. And now we're down. That's okay. Those of us who remain will all stay. We'll have a good time together. Everybody else will be jealous that we're having such a good time painting watercolors. I will say this maybe is not the most technical watercolor I'm ever going to paint, but that's okay. Probably one of the most fun. Although, I don't know, I try to have a lot of fun. Typically, when I paint, I really do. I haven't tried to convert somebody at my work to watercolor painting. I had a meeting with him. Tracy's still here. Yes! Tracy, thank you for hanging on with me. I had a meeting with a guy. I'm going to leave this one be. This one's wet. I'm going to focus on this one over here. And we talked for about an hour or whatnot. And sometimes, as it goes, my conversations ramble and go into a bit of watercolors. And by the end of the meeting, he asked me, how do I get into watercolor painting? I'm not sure how I do that. I went, I got something for you. Natalie's here. Hello. Lost track of time. I'm sorry, Natalie. That's totally unacceptable. No, that's totally fine. It happens, right? Sometimes losing track of time is the funnest thing you can do. So let me bring you up to speed, Natalie, where we're at. We started painting. We did a contact sheet so we could all see the colors. We got a couple of bodies of these guys painted. Then my computer crashed. And after several tense minutes and a near heart attack by me, we're all back. And we're adding legs onto our little guys here. I'll show you the colors we're using here in just a second. And you might get a kick out of it, what we're using. Oh man, now I got to remember which one this was. This was number 3, which was not that one. So, has to be this one up here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop a little bit of this color in. We'll see if we can coax a little bit of that color out. So this will be a good refresher. Actually, Natalie, I'm going to have to ask you to wait for just a second. I want to finish this leg. And I guess I do have a question. I've started to think about it. I have an idea. Maybe I could run past you if we want to talk about. I was thinking about the challenge for next month. We've done a couple of months where we did some colors, and we had this month where we're crazy in wildly iridescent things. I did a painting a couple of years ago of some plants that I put a lot of time and effort into, and I thought they turned out really pretty cool. And I think it's something we could do in about an hour, and it's something that everybody has. We can all relate to it. It's pretty cool. I was thinking about doing some Monstera plants, right? They're kind of a cool house plant that you have around. Maybe not everybody has them, but a lot of people have them. And they could be painted in a myriad of different ways. They can be warm colors. They can be cold colors. They can have a lot of shadows and holes and stuff in them like that, or they can have not too many. But I thought it'd be kind of a cool thing. So that might be the next one. I'm thinking about it. Okay, so Natalie, we took these colors, all right, my supervision colors. Oh man, look what I got going on the bottom. There, we could take the palette colors off. This may not be the best representation of what these colors are. And so I put all the colors on here, and we made, at the beginning of this, this little palette, this little contact sheet, and you can see some of the colors. If I turn this, you can see how they fluoresce and pick up the color. And so then we chose, or I chose, everybody had a little input, 3 and 8 and 9. And so actually it's funny because look at this 9. Looks different from this 9. This is number 9, but this is 8, this blue shiny bit here, and this is, that's different too. This is number 3, and that's number 3. And then we just did a little bit of shading along the side, which we're gonna touch up now. And this is what they came out like to give us this cool, look at that as you turn it, this cool iridescent shiny little bit. And then as we painted these limbs on here, we just touched a little bit of that color in those limbs to make them kind of shiny and cool also. And now you're totally brought up to where we are. Now you've been brought fully into where we are. You know everything that we know. And I'm going to continue to, now that I know that this guy is totally dry, I'm going to continue to try to work on my shadowing around the side of his head. And I don't know what this beetle's head really looks like. I'm just kind of taking a guess. And if it's right, that's awesome. And if it's wrong, that's okay, because it's my beetle. And I get to decide what it looks like. But I think it's going to turn out fine. There we go. Something like that. Ooh, I like that shadowing right there. These paints look really cool. The rougher your paper surface is, they separate into crevices. Yeah. Remind me of that, ZC, as we get towards the end and we start, seeing if we want to have a little bit of fun with these. I'll see if I have any rough paper. I must have some smooth, some hot press. We'll see if I have any rough paper. Maybe we do a little experiment. Cool, Liza. You got a former patient into watercolors. That's awesome. Of course, you know, what am I going to say? I think everybody should be into watercolors. It's by far the best medium for everybody's artwork, but there's a chance that I'm a little biased. It's a possibility. Let's just put it that way. Maybe. I mean, I doubt it, but it could be. All right. Cool. So you see, you're going to remind me like that. And we're going to see how this shading works. Oh, I think it's going to work. I don't want to take too many of those crystals off. Ooh, that looks... I like the way that looks. I don't mean to get all excited about it. But when it comes out and it looks like I had, you know, envisioned it, I get a little excited. That's lovely. I need some more color over here. I don't want to run out of color. I need to do some work. Let's see. This one's got to have a little bit of darkness over here. Let's define a few of these areas. A little shadowing on the back end of some of these. A little pincher, a little something there. Might be just a tad too much on this back leg. Maybe. We just soften that a little bit and that will work. Ooh, okay. All right. I like it. I love it when a plan comes together. You know what I like more, though? I love it when a plan comes together. I really like the fact that we I might have led the discussion, but we all kind of talked about it together and did some of this together. So I think that's kind of cool, too. Natalie, I'll tell you what. We will call this one. Well, we'll call this one Ringo, and we'll call this one George Harrison. How's that? Then you can tell your husband we literally painted the Beatles. That's fun. That's funny. Let's see. I got this up here. Neutral. A little bit phthalo green, a little bit of ultramarine green, a little bit of neutral tint. I don't remember what we used for our color on this guy's head up here, but I just defined something. There's one in every crowd. You can tell them we painted the Beatles. We just named them. I think we're allowed to do that, right? I think if you don't name your paintings, something's wrong. Name your characters. Make up a story. I always try to make up a story about things in my painting. Wasn't Paul the short one? I don't know. Was Paul the short one? I don't know how. Sir Paul. I don't know how short he is or was. It's a great question. If my kids were here, we'd have already done a Google search, figured it out. That's a game my son and I invented. As we were driving in the car one day, we just started playing Who's Taller? You could play Who's Shorter. It'd be about the same. Who's taller? And then we had to make up figure out some celebrities, right? But we did such things. Who's taller, Hall or Oates? I knew, right? Who's tall? And then you get into some weird ones. Who's taller? Katy Perry or John Legend? Ooh, that's tough. Then you got to think, who is taller? I don't know. But we love playing Who's Taller. There we go. Look, I think he looks... Oh, I forgot behind his eye. He's got a black eye. Somebody punched him right in the eye. Ooh, I think he looks pretty good. I want to get a little extra dark. Something a little extra dark right on the edge here. It's still just damp. I hope that water's going to carry that through. It needs a little extra darkness. Right over there. Come on, just a little. Okay, all right. Ooh, we're getting somewhere. How did everyone find out about John Lennon's death? I got up from school and my roommate told me. I don't remember how I found out about John Lennon's death. That's a good question. I think I heard it on the news after I got home from school. I don't even think we heard about it in school. That's a good question. I remember it happening. I just don't remember how I found out about it. That's a great question. I think I got home from school and we were watching the evening news, and it came on the evening news. I want to say that's how I found out about it. Oh, I like this guy over here. I think this guy really is looking good. Oh, he's good. Oh, he looks so good. We were watching Singing in the Rain the other night, and I said Gene Kelly was short. Yep, he's 5. Google says 5'8". Wow. I should say the thing that really started us down this trip was years ago. You know, many people watched it, I'm sure. We were watching oh God, what's the name of it? The Minions movie. What was the first one wasn't called Minions, was it? Whatever the Minions movie was, whatever the title of it was. Maybe it was Minions, just Minions. We were watching it, and one of my kids decided to search on how tall Gru was. And Google said he was 16 feet tall. And we all went, no. There's no way he's 16 feet tall. So then that sent us down the rabbit hole of how tall are other people? How tall are other celebrities? And we had to find it all out. Ooh, can I do this with a steady hand? Probably not. Maybe. Look at that. Maybe. Steady enough. Steady enough. I'm just going off the rails with my painting. Oh, I think he's looking good. Look how good he looks. Oh, Despicable Me. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Despicable Me. And Gru is supposedly 16 feet tall. And I went, there is no possible way Gru is 16 feet tall. I still don't believe Gru is 16 feet tall. But if anybody wants a fun game to play, it's Who's Taller? Oh, your husband says, my Beetles are cool, thank you. I'll take it. I'm going to, what you said was, your husband says that my Beetles are cool. What I heard was that my Beetles are cooler than the Beetles. So, I thank him for that. Sometimes I have a little bit of selective hearing, so I'll take all the credit for that. My wife can vouch for the fact that I have selectric. I can't even speak anymore. Selective hearing. Okay, cool. Look at this guy. He's nearly done. Oh, I think he looks good. You know what makes him are the legs. That little bit of shine on the legs. Oh, that's so good. Let's see. ZC, you remember going to watch the movie. I'm assuming you mean Singing in the Rain and not Despicable Me. I hope they didn't film Despicable Me in your town. That would be disturbing. It would be interesting. Actually, if they filmed Despicable Me in your town, I want to come to your town and check it out. Let me know. I really do. So they filmed. Okay, that's not right. Let's see. Liza, you're 4'11". There's nothing wrong with being 4'11". That's fine. What's wrong with that? I mean, I do get that it is probably frustrating sometimes because a lot of the world is meant for people who are taller, but there's nothing wrong with being 4'11". Lean into it. Go with it. I think it's cool. How boring would it be if everybody was the same size? Liza, you want to be at least 5'7" in your next life. Come on. Is it? I mean, I will readily admit I don't have a lot of experience in being 4'11", so I can't say it's frustrating. But is it? And I'll totally take your word for it. Is it really that frustrating? And I'm not trying to poke fun. I don't know. I've never thought about it. But if you say it is, I totally believe you. Ooh. Yes, Electric was IBM. Thought I died and gone to heaven the first time I used one. No more correction fluid or sheets. No. On the Select. On this, I learned to type on the IBM. Well, no, I learned on the Selectric 2. But we had to use ribbons, and we had to use erasers, and we had to learn how to change the ribbons and whatnot. Did we not have to do that? Did my typing teacher, Mrs. Gearhart, we used to call her Sergeant Gearhart because she was so mean to us. Did she lie to me? Could we have cheated the whole system and didn't know? How dare she? Susie, you're 5'8". All in the 1960s skirts and dresses were too short. Oh. See, there you go. That's the other side. I can only imagine, and I don't know, right? So y'all can tell me I'm full of it. But as my hair has grown out, I'm going to say it's probably much like the discussion of people who have straight hair all want curly hair, and the people who have curly hair all want straight hair. There's nothing wrong with either hair. Both are wonderful. But both probably have a few areas where you wish for the other side. I can't remember how old I was, but I don't remember much anymore. Oh my God, Sunika, you bought a Royal typewriter? Oh, I remember the Royal typewriter. We had, my wife came home with a really old one that was the old manual one for a while. We didn't keep it all that long, but we had it for a while. The kids thought it was a hoot to try and see if they could type the way we used to back in the olden days, which I didn't think was so funny. Actually, I did. Just trying to drop on a few lines and give some general shadows on here. I think I can do this and be pretty quick and not have to worry about too many tide lines on here. And that nice dark line is really going to help us. Oops, I want to get this. With some of these nice shadows on here. I just have to remember to do them all on the proper side. And I do realize that I've got a couple of pinchers and antenna up here to do yet. We're going to get to those. And then, like I said, if you guys want to hang around after we're done with this, I think this is going better than I thought it was going to go. But after this, if you want to hang around, and we'll do some just scribbling and playing with some of the colors here, then we'll do that. Natalie, you started working as a senior in high school. Okay. Natalie, what was your first job? I started working, right after I graduated, and I had two jobs for a while. One was I worked in the pet store at the local mall, and the other was my other job was I worked in the steel mill, doing whatever they needed me to do. Sometimes I swept the place up. Sometimes I baled equipment. Sometimes I just pushed stuff around the entire night. Whatever they needed me to do, I filled in for anybody who didn't come to work. Lots of jobs. Interesting place. Never want to do it again. Wait. Well, hold on. How do we get the zombies delivering mail? As a hairdresser, okay. All right. If we have the zombie apocalypse, I'm ready with your manual typewriter. Okay. Sudike is in charge of the newsletter when the zombie apocalypse happens. My first job was a babysitter, then as a waitress before I started doing hair as a senior. Wow. And you finished beauty school early, which is actually pretty cool. I remember, and this is not an unnatural thing because so many of us back in the day didn't have a whole lot. Seems like most of us didn't have a whole lot back in the day, right? But my school district had a vocational school. And one of the vocations that they taught was cosmetology. And you could go to the cosmetology center and get a haircut for, it was like $2. It was something extremely cheap. And you know, the students were doing it for the experience more than they were for the money. You know, back then $2 was much better than, well, it's much better than $2 today, of course, but I'm sure it still wasn't a whole lot, but it was better than it was today. Anyway, so I had many trips up to the vocational center, to the cosmetology students to get my hair cut. Okay. Where are my marks? Here's one. That must mean this is the other one here. Oh. Yeah. Does that look right? We'll use that one. Let's drop a little of that color in there. I hope that that's still just wet enough to get some of that in there. Our country had a joint vocational school, which is where I went during high school. Yeah. Ours was supposed to be. My town was really weird. Ours was supposed to be a joint vocational school because we had the property and we had some tax revenue that we built this giant thing with. And what happened was we had students there for one other year, and then all of our faculty decided we don't want these other students in our school, and so then it just became our vocational school. See, Susie, that first, I worked a silkscreen printing factory in high school. Wow. How did that go? What did you use silkscreen? Well, not everybody wore t-shirts or as much back then. What did you silkscreen? Was it t-shirts or what I'm so curious now. What was it that you silkscreened? I have such tiny hands I can never use a manual typewriter. Okay. Now, Liza, I happen to know that John Oates is 5'4", and he plays a bass guitar for Daryl Hall. I don't know how hard it is to play a bass guitar, but it seems like it would take a lot. You think you have to keep your fingers hovering. Silkscreen blouses. Blouses. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought. Of course, I don't know that I've ever worn a blouse, but I don't know you silkscreened blouses. Let's see, I'm going to give a couple little highlights like this. Maybe one down his back. I'll pick this up so you guys can see this a little better here in a second. I just want to, I think with this white, actually I should say I'm loving my white, my white gouache. I think I can get a little bit of extra, not color necessarily, but extra little bit of something on here. Let's just wipe that. Ooh. Oh, I like them. I don't know how they turned out like this. I like them. Okay. Oh. Yeah, okay. So, right, I think we're about done with these. I think we've had all the fun with Beetles we can have. Oh, more Peter Pan colors. Interesting. Older ladies wore blouses, not as popular today. Interesting. It took a team to get the paint on the fabric. I couldn't do it today. Interesting. Okay, so let's hold this guy up. I like this guy, right? I do. I really like this. I like the fact that we have the two different colors. I like the fact that the color from his head travels down here. I'm fascinated with his legs. I think if I were to use this color more later on, I would do something like this where I'd put a bit of color down, leave it wet, and then charge into it some of this shiny color. I think that did a wonderful job filling up some of those spaces. It's funny up there on my monitor, these colors look different than here on my table. But as I look at him, right, I've got this shadow line that comes down here, and I think this little bit of highlight doesn't help, but it looks to me like it comes up and goes flat right across his back. But I don't hate it. There's some definite interest here. I think I could have gone a little darker here. I'm okay with not, right? I think there's enough interest on it. This one, love the dark here. And I've talked about not being afraid of putting dark colors on your watercolor paper as long as you leave some light areas, right? You got to have light if you're going to put dark. If you don't do either, you've just got a whole bunch of middling colors. So I like the dark here, right? I love the dark in all of these joints. It really helps to break these segments up. And again, let me get something to point with. I love how the color, you can see the color as it pops in these legs. I wasn't sure any of this was going to happen. I'm totally stoked with it. And the shininess of the whole thing is just fantastic. Again, a little bit of shading over here. I could have pushed this a little bit more, just like on his head. Maybe would have made this a little bit bigger. And I could have pushed this on this side over here a little bit more. Would have brought the top of his head up a little bit more. And on this side, I like the back here. It's a nice area. Anyway, I'm stoked. I'm so happy that these turned out the way they did. I don't know. All I can do is smile. I think for a fun painting, right? And the challenge was not so much the drawing or putting paint on the beetle. The challenge was having some fun with some bright colors, right? I think this is it. I think these, while expensive, are really fun paints to use. And you saw right away when I put them on our contact sheet here exactly what they did and what they looked like. Didn't totally match up with these ones over here, but that's cool because we got to experience something new that happened over here. That was fantastic. Okay, let me see. If you give me 1 second, I'm going to see if I can grab some hot press paper. We can use some rough paper. I've got plenty of rough paper, scrap paper up here, and I'm going to see if I can find some rough. So give me 1 second, and I'm going to be back, and then we'll have some fun playing with these other colors. don't know if... Come on, hot press, where are you? Okay, I have two different kinds of rough. I got hot press. One more second. Trying to find. Whoop! I'm trying to find something that is really different. I haven't used a lot of rough. Anybody like Baby Groot? Oh, okay, I can't. Nope. Okay, I don't have any rough, but I've got smooth and I've got some paper that has some different textured surfaces on it. Actually, I think I got two hot press. So, let's take this up a little bit. I'm totally stoked about that. So, the question is, what do we want to try? We've got these colors here, and who wanted to mix a few of them? Liza, Susie, somebody wanted to mix some. I've got these. They've got numbers if you remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I think I can find where they're at over there. Are there any colors you want to see me mix, or you want to see them on any different papers? And you can just throw them into chat, and as I see them, I'll start mixing them up. I'll leave that there so you can kind of see it, and I think this will be fun. Let's see, Susie, what a great gift you have. So we still have a set of, oh, Susie, the World Book Encyclopedia. Oh my God. Those are fun. Dana, you're glad I experienced some different paints. Thank you. It's fun to play with different paints from time to time. Right? This is hot press paper. So while we're waiting for somebody to throw something in there, I'm going to do a little mixing of my own. And I made this, I have a manual zoom on my camera here. I zoomed out. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. Maybe we can see everything here. So oh geez, what? I forgot where I started. I started I don't know. I think I started here. No. This one is definitely, that looks like number 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this one is 1. So I'm going to mark this one as 1 here. Now we'll know. Okay, so I've got this blue color here. And I'm going to mix that with this crazy looking purple color. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't come out nearly as dark purple on the page. Lots of water on textured paper. So I have this paper, and this is, I'll tell you what, I'll get a little bigger brush. It's going to be a lot of water on this. This is a Strathmore paper. and it's pretty textured. So let's throw some colors onto here. They look like they could have their own animated TV show. Maybe they could. Oh, come on, let's get something. Ooh, that's going to be a little different. I did notice, quite honestly, that if we don't put these on in great quantities, great thicknesses, there doesn't seem to be the greatest difference in some of these. Are these paints to be used on black watercolor paper as fine tech paints are used on black watercolor paper? I don't know. Oh, somebody asked me how I got these. This company sent these to me, and they wanted me to test them out. And I said, yeah, are you kidding? Of course I'll test these out. They look really interesting. And so they sent me a set, and I started testing them. And while they're cool, I never could find a traditional application for using them, and so I didn't use them all that much. And so I've had these for probably a year and a half or 2 years maybe, and haven't done much of anything with them. It sounds terrible because they're really cool, but other than insects, and somewhere around here I have a page of insects that I painted with them, but other than insects and maybe metal, I couldn't think of too many things to paint with them. You know, I don't do too many abstracts, and I don't do any weird unreality paintings, whatnot that some people might do. If you're doing it for that sort of thing, I think, yeah, it'd probably be really cool. But it just isn't something I've done. It's not something that's typically in my wheelhouse. But something that might look interesting. Okay, so look, you can see on here already, still wet. Look at that shine that's on there is not mica, that's water. And you can see how granular they are already, starting to drop out, as opposed to on the on the hot press paper, where that's shiny, right? That's starting to lose its shine, but look, almost nothing has dropped out there. And we don't get quite the glitter off of this. But this one, you can see up here as it's drying up, it's getting quite glitter-y. Let's see, this is a different paper. This is B paper. I was trying to think what it was. I can tell from the texture. Let's just throw some of this color on this B paper here real quickly. Let's see what we got. Let's see how it looks on B paper. B paper is an interesting paper. So we've got some colors going on here. I know you can't quite see. It's off camera where I'm dipping it into the paints, but I'm loading up my brush with these colors. And let's see what this one looks like. Let's see, I painted the sea with metallics before. Sherry, that would be interesting. Lots of times, yeah, I guess I can see that. Lots of times you get such a reflection of light off the sea that I can tell, or I can see where it would be rather metallic. All right, this one is drying up. And you can see here, it's... I've got my microphone in the way. You can see here it's really starting to granulate as it dries up all over here. Look, it's falling into all those pockets. And this, that's not wet anymore. That's shine from the mica. This is pretty dry over here too. There's a little bit of dampness, but a lot of that is shine from that mica too. We'll just contrast that with this one, right? This is the hot press paper. Similar treatment, maybe not the same colors. Even this one over here, come on. This area is dried up in the center. It just doesn't glisten and shine like the other ones do. Not quite. Get a little bit off of this purple one here. So I think part of the question was, let me pull this one back over here again. Part of the question was, we tried to do it here. Can we really layer these things much at all? And I think the answer is maybe. Maybe. Let's do that a little bit. This one should be here. Let's let this one dry as it gets a little bit of glaze on it. Let's see, this is 1, 2. This one should be this one. Let's see how it looks when we're done with it. Whoops, I'm kind of off the screen. Fish and sea animals are shiny. Yeah, they are. Didn't we painted a trout last week, didn't we? I could have used some of this. But this is like, yeah, we could have. I think, right, for a fish or something, we would have had to choose the right kind of fish. Right? Maybe we could have used one of the pinker ones or something. I think a fish, we're kind of stretching to use the colors that are here, but I do know you can buy these in different colors. Yeah, look. Ooh, can you see this one? It's shiny. Shiny. Ooh, look at this whole thing. This is, for all intents and purposes, this is dry. This looks like just a puddle of gold over here. Right, you can really see that one shine and shimmer, and you can see all up through here. Anyway, neat paints. And this one, I'm so disappointed. So look how dull that is. That is so disappointing. Look how dull that is in comparison to how shiny and lively this one is. This just seems so dull by comparison. I'm shocked that the hot press just doesn't allow for the shine. This one, the gold has a little bit of shimmer on it, but not much of anything else. Totally surprised by that. Even this one, which is, so this is, different paper. This is B paper, and it's cold pressed paper too. It's got a different texture on it, but already, look how shiny this is. It's got these big spots of color that are shining through up here, all through this purpley area. So interesting that we needed to have cold pressed paper. Huh. Natalie, you think that the mica and the duochrome properties make them pretty unique. They do make them pretty unique. I think you're right. Yeah, see here, so this one, I don't know if you can see, we have a dark line, but our paint actually came out a little bit further, so I'm going to use this as my example of why it would be hard to do shading with this color on top of this color. It's just not consistent enough. So this one went all the way to the edge. It's much darker here, much lighter there in the same wash. We did this one over here too. Look at this one. There's this big swath down the middle that doesn't have that gold color, but we do have gold along the edges. If I turn it this way, you can kind of see it. I thought something like that might happen, which is why I thought we should use this as a base on these bugs, on these beetles, and then some traditional color right over top of it. Liza, your Michaels doesn't sell paper anymore? Look at that. Ooh, it's just on this bee paper. Really has a nice shine. That's lovely. That's really nice. I'm gonna have to. Now you guys, you've already given me like a dozen suggestions on ways to use this that maybe I hadn't thought of before. I'm gonna have to think of some different ways to use this going forward now. Yeah, this is so disappointing. Look, only a little bit of shine here. Nothing in that blue. I can't turn that anyway. This whole one up in the corner is pretty dull. This one's got some of that gold in it. But these ones that are, oh, you can just see all the way around the iridescence and the shine on those. Definitely the cold press wins the day. I wish I had some rough paper around here, then we could really see the difference. But I got a whole stack of right up there. I got a whole stack that I just dug through, and I didn't see any in there. Okay, you can crinkle rice paper and then paint on it. That would look cool. Bee paper changed their owners. Oh, is that what happened to them? I bought some bee paper and it was horrible. I mean, this is 4 or 5 years old, maybe a little older. I bought, you know, they used to sell this in a stack of 50, and I've got a few of these left over. And I know this is 100% cotton. And then I bought some a little bit later, like a small pack of it, and I thought it was terrible. I guess I didn't realize they got bought and changed their formulation. That would explain a lot. Yeah, Sherry, you're saying the same thing. You got some bee paper that just isn't as good now as it was before COVID, which is, what, 4 years ago now? 4 or 5 years ago? Yep. My take is that this paint can make its own masterpiece just by putting it on paper. Could be. You do get some cool stuff going on with it. That's for sure. Susie Moon, great idea. Susie Moon, you can crinkle rice paper and then put paint on it. Would look cool. I don't have any rice paper. I never tried it. Okay. If anybody has any other ideas on what to do with this, I'm cool to stay on for a little while. If not, then I'm going to do two things. One is, I'm actually going to get my painting here. One is, I'm going to say, I'm totally sorry that we had the little blip in the middle. It's frustrating to me that happened. I just rebooted my computer. Well, not today. I rebooted it yesterday, and I thought it was all working well. I used it all last night to record a voiceover for a video that's going to be coming out soon. I thought everything was good, and then it just froze. So I apologize for that, but I do want to thank you all for masking fluid ripped it. Oh, I hate that. It gets too gummy and you go to pull it off and it doesn't come off. It just shreds the paper. Ugh. Hate that. I do want to thank you all. Here, I'll do this too. You can see that. Whoop. There it is. I do want to thank you all for joining me on this Wednesday edition of Beetles on the live stream. Thank you for anybody who took part in the challenge. I'm going to be putting this up there. You can take a closer look at it. I had a great time painting it. It was honestly, I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know how mixing traditional paint and this paint would look together. I think it looks fantastic. I'm so glad you guys got to experience it along with me, doing a little experimentation. I want to thank you for that, and hope that you all come back next week when we'll do it all again with another painting. Until then, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.